Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The VCT season is officially underway. The Americas starts in just a couple of days' time, and SEN Curry has played his first scrim with the SEN lineup, with Gen.G still stuck over there in Morocco. Loud though it seems to have their issues resolved, maybe that could be the case for Gen.G with the next couple of days. Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Plenty to dive into. Firstly, on roster related stuff. Net is gone from the GT lineup. This is an interesting decision to me. Net, to be fair, the feeling was, before the season even began, even last year when the guards were coming into the franchising side, there was a feeling they might not even stick together, and that they wanted to make some changes. It's interesting to hear about. G2, arguably, could they have just had more time with Leaf and stuff? Maybe it would have worked. I don't know. But they're in an interesting position, G2, when in some ways they're kind of like DRX, I think, in some ways, when they seem to just have the pieces, but they, I don't know, can't put it together. They can't seem to win anything. So maybe at some point it necessitates some sort of a change for whatever reason. So yeah, Net is gone. He's out of there. And as he says, unrestricted free agent. Thankful to have been a part of something so special from the guard days. Now on to G2. So looking for options. I think the Net will get another opportunity somewhere. I think he's a grinder. I think he's a talented player. And there's an argument to say that Net certainly wasn't the worst of their team, but then again, did he just run around and try and get killed sometimes? Maybe there's an argument that's true as well. And IC looking to come in to replace him is our current understanding of that new G2 team. However, speaking of DRX, we've got to discuss these guys as well, because this is quite the announcement here from DRX today on the future of their team. Flashback recently come into their roster, looks like a very promising player they brought on from their kind of academy system effectively into the starting DRX team, and he looked like he was going to be a mainstay from now into the future. However, DRX say this today: after due consideration from all the parties involved, DRX has decided to place Flashback from the starting roster to the reserve roster effective immediately. On the 3rd of April 2024, so yesterday, Flashback issued a formal request to the DRX management to be placed on an indefinite leave for personal reasons that we will not be commenting on. So I don't know what's going on with Flashback. Hopefully all is okay, but man, so many teams struggling right now with either substitute situations, visa situations, personal issues. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on what Flashback's going through. Obviously hoping he's all okay, but I imagine it's got to be something relatively serious from a personal or family perspective. Who knows? But after a detailed discussion between the management, the coaching staff, the players, we have mutually decided to respect Flashback's decision to excuse himself from the starting roster. Undoubtedly an integral part of our team, will not hesitate to support Flashback to our fullest effort to help him resolve these matters. During his absence, DRX VALORANT will compete fiercely to ensure that we qualify for Masters Shanghai and the World Championship. It is definitely going to set them back somewhat, so wishing Flashback the best. But all of a sudden now this decision to release RB, to release Zest, feels like, damn, well, if we had those guys back, they might be in a more promising position, right? Because all of a sudden it looks like, well, DRX and, you know, we'll discuss Loud and SEN in a second, but DRX especially, having not qualified for Madrid, now really need to get their act together at the start of the season. Losing Flashback, I would say, based on what we've seen recently, is going to be a pretty big loss for those guys. Quickly, before we discuss some of the games of yesterday, Clove has been temporarily disabled. Clove was meant to be in play for week 2 of stage 1, but there are various bugs with the character right now, so they're putting that on hold. There's been some debate as well if Clove, you know, when Clove is allowed, whether there's even going to be play for Clove in play. Because some pros think that Clove is strong, some most certainly do not. But these were the games yesterday in the challenger side. So 2 games I'm pretty sure went down. Actually, yeah, so it's just the 2 matches. MXS versus Thinking Men, and then QOR versus YFP. So QOR got the victory here. MXS got the dub as well. Now, I think MXS Flyer was saying that he was aware he was having some problems with his ping. He was playing elsewhere. So that's why he, didn't have his best performance. He actually says that he had to play from home. So he was hit with 65 ping and packet loss nerve. Happy that my team could carry me. Slow start, 3-0 on the split. Couldn't be happier. Lots to work on for the future, he says. But yeah, Thinking Men go down 2-1 to MXS. Close series, to be fair. They won the split, Thinking Men, 13-3. Don't see that every day on Moist Shopify's pick. Then they bounce back, though, 13-5, and then 13-10 on the decider here on the bind. So yeah, MXS still establishing themselves as the potentially one of the strongest forces, certainly in Group A. They've proven that so far. M80 probably still my favourites to win Ascension this season, but time will only tell on that one. We also, though, have matches from the EMEA region yesterday because the kickoff is done, the regular season is officially underway, and Karmine Corp get a clean dub here against Giant X, as it were. People have been joking these guys are effectively just Cloud and the boys, which, maybe there's some truth to that, to be fair. Redgar had a shocker here as well, I'm not going to lie. That the Redgar downfall might need to be studied, to be fair, from a few years ago to now the present day. 13-4 on the Breeze, and then 13-9 on the Sunset, with Redgar having 3 frags. So, not pretty, really. We know that KC are good. They're good in this type of environment especially. Tomasi was, I would say, the MVP of the day. Martin had a pretty rough Sunset, but he had a good Breeze to kind of counter out for it, I suppose. 15-8 here on the Jets, and in the end a relatively clean dub for Karmine Corp, but that was expected. The other series was Liquid versus KOI, Movistar KOI I guess it is now, another relatively clean 2-0, 13-9, 13-7 at the end. So this Liquid team, they've shown some promise. That's Nats, of course, as well, who was teamed with Redgar not long ago. Those guys have obviously parted ways, gone their separate directions, and it's potentially working out for one party rather better than the other. Now, Heretics, they play very shortly as well, and they will play with Miniboo in the roster, so it's been an absolute mess here really for Heretics. They confirmed what was going on here in this video. Mixwell makes it quite clear as well. So the timing is that Miniboo, despite his exams going on and he's got to do studying and all this stuff, he actually can make it in time, just about. So he will be there for their opening games. Woot, of course, cannot play. He's had visa issues. Very frustrating again, and he's going to be there for, I think, like the 3rd week maybe, or at least their 3rd matchup, I think is the plan for him to be able to play in at least. So Patty Tech will stay, and Miniboo will come in. So yeah, we know that Heretics, in addition to KC, they made it to Masters Madrid very impressively. So, but another team that's having problems right as the season starts, as have most certainly Loud, right? And here is Sadak yesterday, so I thought this is kind of incredible, right? It's in these situations that you see who is willing to go the extra mile for the organisation. With the videographer imprisoned in Northern Ireland, we want to thank Sadak for always helping when needed. And here he is, holding the microphone boom and doing all the production stuff. So thought this is actually really cool to see. But the good news is for Loud, that despite Sadak kind of joking around as to what their roster is going to be, it seems like they will be there in time. Because, as was mentioned yesterday, here's Toys with his Brazilian passport and seemingly visa approved. Finally came here after days of distress having their visa denied. The Brazilians of Loud Valorant got approval to return to the US. So they were in Ireland, I think they're in Dublin possibly. It always depends whether they just had to have a flight that went through Dublin and that was the connection, or more likely they went to Dublin because that was the place they could get, or maybe it was even Belfast, I don't know, because it was Northern Ireland mentioned in the previous tweet. Wherever those boys were, they were potentially going wherever they can get the shortest possible time frame for an appointment at the embassy, the US embassy in various countries, and then hopefully it's job done. So that should be the case. They should be back in time. One player, though, that is unlikely to be back in time, it's got to be said, is Gen.G of the Sentinels. We're pretty sure he's stuck in Morocco. He may be able to figure it out in time. But Sentinels, as I mentioned yesterday, have, it seems, come to the conclusion that they've got to play without Gen.G, or at least they must do some practice without Gen.G. So here is Curry with the Masters Madrid trophy, so congratulations. He worked so hard for it, of course, over there in Madrid. Well, he was chilling out in LA while the boys won, but yeah, some work hard, some work hardest. But I wanted to share what Curry said on stream last night, having played scrims, and apparently they'd gone particularly well.
My hands are so cold. Fuck. Are you in Sen Office? Yeah, I am right now. I didn't feel like setting up the webcam for the stream. I'm only playing a couple of games. You know, trying to get warm just in case, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, chat? You know what the vibes are like? How was scrims today? Scrims were good today. We actually played really well. Well, played really well considering it's everyone's first day back from Madrid. Like, everyone's first practice day since Madrid. And also first time playing with me, and also first time me playing scrims in 6 months. All things considered, we played really well. So, it's pretty cool. Pretty awesome, if you ask me.
So every player and team almost always says, yes, our practice is going very well. We were frying, we were doing really well, because usually what happens is, even if you lose marginally, or if you win marginally, you think, damn, we did that on this amount of practice, this amount of results, so we're going to be cooking. And maybe that's full well true. We know that Curry is a really great asset to have for a team. We saw what he did for Cloud9 last year when he subbed in for those guys at the Rebel Homegrounds. They nearly beat Fnatic in the grand finals of that event. This time, though, it's a bit different, because John QT is the mastermind. He is John Quality Tactics. As we full well know, he is the in-game leader. That is the one man you really don't want to be losing because he brings a lot to the team, absolutely. As for the rest of the guys, but John QT arguably more than most given their recent turnaround. So John QT gone, what do you do? Does Sassy in-game lead? Does Zelsis step up to in-game lead? Curry's probably not going to be doing it. He might get back in time. It's possible that he gets back in time, but it is rather unlikely. This was one screenshot, by the way, from yesterday when they were scrimming. I'm not sure if we actually found out who they were playing against, where we see Zekken, Kaplan the coach, Zelsis, Sassy, Curry, and Tens. So that is their roster. They play 100T on Sunday, and to be honest, 100T will go in as the favourites, I suppose, of that series, right? At the end of the day, you're playing a team without their in-game leader. You've got to think you'd be favoured to win, despite the fact that Sentinels are still going to be very strong with this roster. Curry, I'm sure, is going to do a good job, and he reckons that he and we, as in the team, were playing really well in their scrims yesterday. So they've got another couple of days to get them practice in. We'll see who they play against if we see any further scrim mucks, whether John QT can make it out there in time. But my feeling is that's probably not going to happen, and Sentinels, it seems, have come to the realisation that that's probably not going to happen, and therefore they need to get some time in at least with Curry to ensure they are adequately prepared for their first series of the regular season. Just before we close out, though, I wanted to mention this. Baby J is no longer Baby J. He has changed his gamer tag actually here to Inspire, which is not a terrible gamer tag. I kind of liked Baby J. But as he says, I'll be rebranding for Baby J to Inspire, want to embrace the new name and move into a more positive direction as we continue to grind Valorant, he says. So, yeah, how about this? Baby J is gone, no more. And to be fair, this might actually work in some roundabout way. It tends to be the case, it's kind of strange really, but certain names have connotations. And Baby J, in his history as a Valorant pro, being on the brink of being a Valorant pro, being on teams, being off teams, hasn't necessarily made the best reputation for himself in terms of being a top player. And, you know, I think Baby J is a good player for sure. But I feel like other teams, they hear Baby J and they think, well, you know, probably not worth the risk, as it were. So maybe the feeling is, change the name, and maybe that changes the reputation to some degree. I still think Baby J actually goes kind of hard as a gamer tag, and Inspire, I don't know, doesn't inspire me quite as much as Baby J did, to be fair. But in terms of what he wants to achieve in his career, this actually may be a good decision. So very much interested in your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.